on securing your Keele virtual internship. This brief presentation has been designed to help you to get off to a good start. In this video, we'll be looking at the types of practical considerations, business etiquette, time management, and communication. Throughout the video, I'll be referring to resources available to you on Keele Careers Online. As well as the resources that I'll be pointing you towards, I would really recommend to have a look at Keele Careers Online. In terms of the other resources available, lots of fantastic things. So for example, there are a whole host of resources to help you to develop business skills that might be useful to you during your virtual internship. Also, there's the Careers and Employability Internship Toolkit. There's the URL, and you can find out lots and lots of information in addition to this presentation to help you to get your virtual internship off to a great start, and most importantly, make good use of that work experience opportunity. So, some practical considerations. Firstly, it's important to think about your internet and IT equipment. Many of us have been using Zoom and Google Meets and Hangouts to stay in contact with friends and family. So you're probably aware of some of the IT difficulties that people encounter. So it's really important to check things like your internet connection and to make sure your IT equipment is working, so that when you log on to a Zoom call or Microsoft Teams, your microphone and video are working. Now, you may be asked to do various pieces of work using software available through Microsoft Office. And you may or may not be aware that you can get free licenses for Microsoft Office 365 from Keele University. Also, it's important to keep your computer or laptop free of viruses, and if you haven't already got antivirus software, the link shown on the screen takes you to Sophos antivirus software. Now, it's quite possible that you'll be dealing with personal or private or confidential data. Now, the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, is a law that governs how personal data is used and passed on. So if you visit the link there, you'll find out some resources to help you to gain awareness of what GDPR is and make sure you work within that legal framework. And when you're thinking about your home work environment, you're going to be working at home. So where are you going to set up? And is it going to be free of potential distractions or interruptions? So it might be worthwhile thinking about how you're going to have meetings, have calls, or uninterrupted work time at home. So that could be making people who you're living with aware of when and where you'll be working, so you can minimize those disruptions. It's also important to be comfortable while you're working. You may be used to working in the library at Keele, where there are office chairs and office equipment that has been designed to make sure that you can work safely at a screen. The Keele Careers Online has some resources around health and safety and how you can look after your health and well-being whilst working from home. And there is some further information on working remotely or remote working on Keele Careers Online. Lots of resources that you can have a look at. Now moving to etiquette. So etiquette or business etiquette is really important when you're working with an employer. So here we can see etiquette is described in the dictionary as the customary code of polite behaviour in society or among members of a particular profession or group. So it's important to be aware that how you conduct yourself and how you appear can influence how people see you as an individual. And those impressions that are made can be both favourable and unfavourable. But the good news is you can manage that impression by the way you act and communicate, by ensuring that it is in a professional and polite way, and adopting a professional mindset and persona. So employers are really interested in people that work professionally. So if you start to think about the professional actions and behaviours and what they may be and how you would like to present yourself, you're on a good way to presenting yourself in a positive way. So some examples here. You have a video call with your employer. You are in your pyjamas. Do you get dressed? You have an issue that means you cannot complete a work activity in an agreed time frame. Do you communicate this to your employer? So the answer to these two questions is yes. Firstly, if you're on a video call with your employer, how you appear creates that impression of you. So in a workplace, you wouldn't be in your pyjamas. And that kind of conduct is what will be expected by employers. And of course, if you can't complete something that you've been asked to do within an agreed time frame, the etiquette is to inform your employer. And we have two links there around etiquette. So lots of resources to help you to explore what etiquette is and how you can create that favourable impression. So moving now to managing your time. So time management is an organisational skill. To be organised does involve being able to manage your time efficiently. So it involves allocating time to tasks. So when you have a number of tasks, some might be quite quick to complete, some might need a little bit more time. So in you allocating your time, you can think about that. Also, time management involves prioritising. So thinking about when there are deadlines, for example. So for example, you may have a meeting that has been arranged with one of your employers. It's really important that you make sure that you are there on time. And if for whatever reason you can't make that call or that video call, that you inform the employer. So a good question is, you have 100 hours to complete your virtual internship. How are you going to allocate your time to make sure that that project is completed successfully? Now, you don't necessarily have to decide this all on your own. You can communicate with the employer, and that's quite important. So when you're looking at what are the priorities, involve the employer in this. Remember, you can ask questions. You have a video call with your supervisor at 9 AM. If you log onto your computer at 9 AM, you'll be late. So that is part of managing your time. So you might have a deadline, but in order to turn up for a meeting, you're going to need to turn on your computer, you're going to need to log on, and if you start to do that at 9 o'clock for a 9 o'clock meeting, you will be late. And some further resources through Keele Careers Online through the link. And then we move on to communication. So when you start your virtual internship, it would be a good idea to talk to your employer and agree on the best way to communicate with them. So that could be simply via email. They could prefer a telephone call, or it could be through a video call, for example, Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Meet. Make sure you keep in regular contact with your employer, so update them on your progress. And if you have any questions, you're unsure about something, or need something clarified, or you need further information, do ask those questions. And naturally, things do change, things happen outside of our control. And if something does happen that impacts on your work, make sure you let the employer know. Communication is also about communicating in a professional way. So thinking, how are you going to be perceived if you send an email in a particular way? So we have some resources here. The first one is through Keele Careers Online. Lots of resources to help you develop those communication skills. And the bottom link is a link to the Plain English campaign, and there is an online guide to how to write business emails. That's the end of the presentation. Again, I would like to wish you the very best with your virtual internship, and if you have any questions about the topics in this presentation, please do contact Careers and Employability.